Without the performance of austerities, nothing worthwhile in this world can ever be accomplished. In the Vedic heritage, austerities are called Tapasya, and Bharatvarsh is referred to as Tapobhumi, the land where austerity has always been cherished and revered. In the Mahabharata is the story of Yudhishthira Maharaj when he performed the Rajasuya Yagna in Indraprastha. It is said the Yagna was so lavish that every day he would feed 10,000 Brahmins on golden plates and let them take away the plates after the meal. However, after a few days of the Yagna, the Pandavas were sitting around Lord Krishna and they saw a squirrel enter the Yagna Mandap. One side of the squirrel was golden. It began jumping on the other side. After 5-6 vain attempts, the squirrel exclaimed, "Dhik Yagyam, fie upon this Yagya," and began walking away. Bhimsen was so annoyed he lifted up his mace to smash the squirrel. Lord Krishna said, "Bhim, first find out why did the squirrel say that?" The squirrel began sharing its story. It related that a few years ago, it used to reside on a tree in a village close to Indraprastha. And there, under the tree was the hut of a poor Brahmin family. That family was so poor that when grain was harvested in the fields, the few grains that remained on the ground after the harvest, they would search for those and some subsist off them. However, once for a few years there was famine in the land, and for many days this family was famished. The father one day managed to get rations from somewhere, and a meal was cooked for the father, mother, son, and daughter-in-law. When they were about to partake of it, a guest arrived. He said, "Sirs, I am so hungry. Can you please give me something to eat?" The Brahmin told his wife, "Give my portion to him. I will fast today." That visitor was satiated and he departed. Now the mother and the two son and daughter-in-law sat to eat. In the meantime, a second traveler arrived. The mother said, "Never mind, I will take inspiration from my husband." And she fed her portion to that traveler, who left satisfied. Before the son and his wife could take their share, a third traveler arrived, and the son offered his portion to that guest. Finally, there was only enough for the young daughter-in-law when a fourth guest reached. She said, "I should take inspiration from my elders. I have decided I will fast today in favor of feeding our honored guest." The squirrel said, when that Bahu, daughter-in-law, made the sacrifice, although she was so hungry, the celestial gods rejoiced and showered flower petals from the heavens. The squirrel said, "I was present on the scene and I was so delighted that I jumped in ecstasy, and the side of my back on which I fell turned into gold by the power of that family's austerity, tapasya, tyag, sacrifice, Yagna. So the squirrel said, only one side of my back was gold. I was looking how to make the other side gold as well. And that was when I came to know that Yudhishthira Maharaj is performing the Rajasuya Yagna. I decided on this fire sacrifice, I will be able to transform my other backside as well. But I attempted again and again. It was futile. That is why I said, Dhik Yagyam. This sacrifice cannot compare with the sacrifice performed by the poor family residing outside of Indraprastha. Having said that, the squirrel walked away. The Pandavas were silenced. Yudhishthira asked Sri Krishna, Maharaj, where did we fall short in the performance of this sacrifice? Lord Krishna said, Yudhishthira, you did this sacrifice with money that you collected from others, with what you gathered from other kings as well. The poor family sacrificed the food needed to satiate their hunger. There is no comparison. This story is there in the Mahabharata to inspire us to look on sacrifice as something glorious and to be cherished. Let us see what the Bhagavad Gita has to say about the importance of sacrifice. Those who know the secret of sacrifice and engaging in it partake of its remnants that are like nectar, advance towards the absolute truth. O best of the Gurus, those who perform no sacrifice find no happiness either in this world or the next. That is why there's a story in the Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran about the firstborn Brahma, how he performed the sacrifice before engaging in the process of creation. It relates that when he was born on the lotus flower that grew from the navel of Vishnu, he found all around him an ocean of energy, because no objects had been created as yet. Brahma wondered who he was and where had he found himself. He saw the stem of the lotus on which he was sitting and began traversing into it for a long time, but could not reach the beginning. He then retraced his steps and returned and sat down. The waves of the ocean of energy were speaking to him the sounds tapa, tapa, tapa. He got the message. He needs to perform austerity. And he did exactly that. At the end, those austerities bore fruit. Lord Krishna manifested in front of him and spoke to him. The 4 verses of the Chatushloki Bhagavat, which is the seed of the Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran, that is of 18,000 verses. So on the basis of these 4 verses, Brahmaji then went about the work of creation. Just to give you a sample, the first of those Chatushloki Bhagavat verses states, Ahameva samevagre nanyadyat sadasat param paschadaham yadetaccha yova shishyeta sosmyaham. Lord Krishna says, Brahmaji, when this creation did not exist, I alone existed. Whatever is manifest in the form of creation is my veritable form. Where creation ceases to exist, I alone am there. When creation will not remain at the time of Mahapralaya dissolution, I alone will exist. Brahmaji, there is nothing apart from me. Now go and create. So the eligibility to engage in creating this astonishing world was achieved by Brahma by the performance of austerity. That is why whenever there is an opportunity to accomplish something great, but the process requires embracing difficulties, bearing tribulations, undergoing hardships, forsaking pleasures, luxuries, indulgences, and gratifications. Let us gladly do it, subjugating our lower pleasure to the higher purpose in the spirit of sacrifice and austerity.